Hey everybody, as you can see, things have changed a little bit. It's been a very hard time for me. So hopefully, as we get this set up, sound won't be too bad. I might move this microphone a little closer, actually. Um, but just want to let you know how everything has been going out here for me. Poorly. uh, it's been a real whirlwind out here. Uh, I had a second cancer diagnosis, so there was a lot of things going on the surface level and then behind the scenes. The day I was supposed to have my surgery for that, all the power went out because of a big storm, and the doctor said she had the opportunity to do surgery by phone light, but she was not going to do that. So I had another week to reschedule, which put me right in line for the first week of a new semester of school. And then we got the news that one of my dogs was probably going to die very shortly and that we needed to go ahead and put him down. And then my mother called and said that she was not going to last 2 weeks and that I needed to fly across the country to see her. Which, when she says 2 weeks, she meant that she would hang on in tremendous amounts of pain until I got there. So that was very difficult. Um, and then we got over here, and about 2 days before I flew out, my dad injured himself and had to be taken to the emergency room because he didn't tell anybody that he had hurt himself and had to get some pretty serious help for that. So it's been a really bad series of time. Then shortly after, my mother did pass away within a few days of me making here. Um, Her dog also had to be put down. So it's been really tough. My school and my family have been very supportive through all of this, and I'll try to maintain a very professional demeanor through all of this as well. So that said, let's get back on with the challenge. As you can see, I'm in one of the little agricultural outbuildings out here on the farm. It's I tried to do one at home, but then my sister came walking by in her pajamas, and then I tried a different day, and the dogs were barking, and then a tractor. There's just all kinds of things. So finding the right place and the right time is really key. So looking into where we are right now, it's kind of a question about, with day 11, what is it that the future really holds for us? Occasionally for my students, I will suggest that they watch the Matthew McConaughey 5-minute speech where he kind of discusses how what you're not is actually more important than what you are, who you are, and that is what gives us the idea. The more you can say, I'm not like that person, I don't do those things, that's how you start to realize who you are and what sets you apart from other people. What is the real you? And as time goes on, it's real easy to find yourself in a position where the real you might get caught up in the trappings of going to places and doing things that don't really help you to get to where you want to get to, but they're just something that happens along the way. It might be a restaurant that you go to that charges too much money, and now you don't have time or money to do the things that you want. It might be some people that you hang out with that are not really like-minded, or maybe they push you to do things that you don't really want to do, and that stops you from being able to do the things that you do want to do. And it's really kind of a difficult situation to find out who you are and where you want to go. Similarly, for our students who have their own finances kind of under control, we ask for them to look over their payments and credit card debts and things that they've made over the last 2 or 3 months, and just to mark off which of those things were not things that you needed to do, but they were things that you wanted to do, or places that you spent money that could have been better spent somewhere else, like Patreon or Kickstarter or going out to eat, or having $60 worth of beer at the bar instead of buying beer and taking it home, and things like that. And after we have them look over these things, try to see if it's possible for them to cut down the amount of spending that they have, maybe by half, and see if they can't take some of that money and invest it, or put it in an account until they can invest it. And that becomes just some things that we can do with our students to help make sure that they're good stewards of their own money, and they're thinking of what the future is going to bring for them. So the question that we're asking here today is, if money is not an issue, what would you do for the remainder of your life? I am about 50 years old, so I know that if I wanted to have a retirement where I don't work for the rest of my life and live comfortably, I would need $5 million. And I can tell you how many millions of dollars that I actually have. It's very zero. So if you think about how much money you want to spend in your lifetime, $1 million will probably get you about 10 years of very, very good living where you don't have to worry about the future. But most of us, all of us, probably anybody watching this, doesn't have that kind of money set aside. But if money wasn't a question, what would you do? Would you travel? Would you get out and do other things? I'm sad to say that probably for a little while I would travel, but not for very long. Maybe if money wasn't an issue, I might travel a year. I might go to some places that I would want to go. I might take another cruise. If money wasn't an issue, what I would actually do is I would go and see all my friends and family. I would bring gifts to them. I would feed them. I would go places with them. I would spend my time with them. I would go back home and entertain myself. I would take long walks and play video games and watch movies and read books, all the things that I've always wanted to get around to doing, but I never actually get around to doing. Those are the things that I would do. I would go and visit my daughter in college. She's 4.5 hours away and doesn't want to hang out with her old man. Probably until she's older and thinks that she's missing something. But yeah, I would spend more time with the people that I love rather than spending time doing things to try to secure a better now. So the question that you might ask yourself is, if you are asking yourself, what would you do if money was not an issue? Is, why aren't you doing those things now? Why aren't you doing smaller versions of it? Why aren't you saving up to do it? You'll notice that even though I am suffering, from cancer, I didn't say that I would be raising money for cancer cures. It's on my mind, but it's not something I would ever think about unless somebody said, well, why not that? Um, so it's a very real kind of a situation as to, what's holding you back from getting those things. Well, I feel like I have a very median home, and I would like to build another small ADU on my property for my daughters to come and live, and they could stay there, show up anytime they want, day or night, sleep there, have their families come and stay for extended periods, perhaps, who knows? All these things that can be done, most of the time they're not really on our radar. And because they're not really on our radar, we're off and tracking down other items. So that's kind of a pain in the behind. Another situation that we want to kind of think about is, what do you wish I knew, or what do we wish that we knew when we were younger? When I was younger, I definitely would have thought to put away and put aside some more money for retirement. I'm just not good at savings. I'm not made for wealth. So that would have been really nice. I've suffered from terrible self-esteem, and I think that probably through my middle years, I would have thought that maybe it could have been nicer for me to put myself out there to get rejected more. I got rejected plenty. But, in the arena of love, probably could have done a little bit more with that. But, when you're rolling with this, there's only so much you can do. Probably, another thing that I would have liked to have done is I would have had to liked to have had better relationship with my family. I love my family, love them to death. I'll do whatever I can. But there were many years of my life where I was at odds with my family. And unfortunately, it was some long situations where you have to decide, is there one member of the family that you're going to listen to, or is there another member of your family that you're going to listen to? And that division goes a long way. So I think it probably would have been more about repairing relationships with my family. When I was in school, I probably would have been less worried about the grades and more worried about the relationships with the people and getting to know my craft. I feel I did a very good job when I was in school doing what I thought was right. But that also meant that I spent a lot of time goofing around, and what I thought was right was not homework. So it would have been nicer to get that together. I wish I would have started my job as a state employee sooner. State of North Carolina still is running at $2.18 an hour for waiting tables. And the minimum wage, I believe, is $6.85. It might be up to $8, but there's not very much money there in that state. And so until they find something green that they can grow in that state for money, that won't make all of the rich people upset that poor people with land are able to make money, North Carolina is going to continue to be somewhat impoverished. But if I had started doing anything as a full-time person early on in my career, I could be very well along the way. As I'm getting towards 50, I'm more interested in retiring and when do I get to quit working. I've been working as a teacher since 2005, and I feel things are okay. It's not It's not everything that it's cracked up to be, but then again, like I'm not really here for wealth. I'm here to enjoy what I do for a living, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. The only other thing that kind of rolls along through that is just kind of being more aware of the things that really are important to me and the things that are not important to me. It used to be, there was a time when my cousins would give me pictures that they drew, and I was just kind of the opinion, I wish you would give me a thing instead of this. And now when I look at what they gave me, I'm just filled with joy because it's something personal. It's something special. And when I think about the time that I lost with that, that's really it. I mean, when someone wants to punish you, they just take away your time. So, thinking about those things, I think the last thing is I might have wanted to do more things which are experiential. I like the idea of going on a cruise, but I get car sick and motion sick very easily. I enjoyed being able to drink all that I cared to drink, although I couldn't possibly make it to the amounts that I was set to have. It would have been nice to go with people. It would have been very nice to have had my phone or my computer with me just so I could write. I had a book and it was great, but I read the whole thing in 3 days, and then I had 2 days of sitting around doing nothing. Who knows? I guess I should have been gambling. But there was one experiential thing I did not take part in that was also fun. And the thing about experiential materials are just, you create a memory, and a memory of a thing is a lot better than a memory of using a thing. I had a horse with springs, and I would jump up and down on it as a kid. I don't remember all the times that I had it, and all the games that I played with it, but it was fun. I went with my kids to a theme park and got to ride on roller skate rides, and got to go on roller coasters, and that experience was really fun and stuck with me for a long time. So experiential things are much more fun. Certainly more fun than clothes, especially socks. But, that's just kind of how it is. All right, everybody. So thank you very much. Think about it. I'm sorry for the big break. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and hopefully I will be able to get some of these posted. Thank you very much. Goodbye.